Hey, what's up? I'm here with another one of my Monday Night Raw overviews, so let's get right to it. First off on the show, we started with a promo of Kane attacking Batista and CM Punk from footage from the Great American Bash, and then after that we had Batista come out and he gave a little spiel about how he deserves another shot against Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship because he, wasn't a clean match. Kane came out and interfered. Then JBL comes on the Titantron and says that he rules all and that Batista had his shot, and since he didn't, win, that should be JBL's turn. So that happens, and then CM Punk comes out and actually mutes JBL on the Titantron. So that was, I don't know, kind of different, but so CM Punk mutes JBL on the Titantron, and then he makes a match between him and Batista, so that's the main event for the night. CM Punk and Batista for the World Heavyweight Championship, so we're going to give Batista one more shot at it. Then for that, Lance Cade came out, and he addressed the audience, and also Shawn Michaels to come out. As you know, Shawn Michaels got injured at the Great American Bash, so he obviously doesn't come out. But then starts the first match of the night between Paul London and Lance Cade, and it's basically a squash match. Lance Cade dominates London, and so London is pretty much jobbing here, as he was the past couple weeks too. So winner's Lance Cade, clean win. And after the match, Cade tells Shawn Michaels to come out, and then since Shawn Michaels still didn't come out, he calls for Chris Jericho to come out. And so I think then we get a promo of Michaels and Jericho's match, and then Jericho talks about what he did to Michaels and how he adds in a few things there too. I think that Michaels had some broken bones or some internal injuries, which is obviously just trying to heighten up what he did, because I think the detached retina from Michaels is legit, but everything else no. So then we have our second match of the night between Kelly and Beth Phoenix. Not a squash match. Actually, Kelly did fairly decent in this match. She's showing, a little bit more that she is indeed somewhat of a wrestler. But obviously, Beth Phoenix wins. It's only right that she wins. And so Kelly was controlled a little bit in the beginning, but Beth Phoenix just comes out and dominates in the second half of the match. Winner Beth Phoenix. Then after that, Jim Duggan comes out and he talks about quitting. This goes back to the kind of, not really feud, I guess, or maybe kind of feud, or just trying to hype up the tag team champions. But as you know, last week, the tag team champions, Rhodes and DiBiase, come out and say that old talent is bad, and they start this whole thing with Jim Duggan, so this kind of this ties into that, and Jim Duggan saying he's thinking about quitting because he said Rhodes and Holly had some valid points or something like that. So, of course, if Jim Duggan quit, I mean, personally, I guess, he was a good wrestler in his time, but as of now, it's kind of like the Ric Flair kind of thing. If he leaves, well, fine. I mean, that's about it. I mean, Ric Flair obviously is more important than Jim Duggan in his own right, but I mean, I forgot Jim Duggan was even still on Raw until he came out. I thought he already had retired, so, it's kind of like, okay, so you're still here. But Jerry King Lawler comes to ringside and tells Duggan not to quit. Then the WWE Tag Team Champions come, and they start talking about how when Lawler and Duggan were in their primes, they weren't even born, or they were really small, stuff like that. And then Jerry King Lawler actually slaps Cody Rhodes right on the head like he did to Andy Kaufman. I believe that was a lead up to it. And that was pretty cool, actually. That was a pretty good slap. That was probably one of the most realistic-looking things of the night, if you know what I mean. Which pretty much tells you how the night went. And so Lawler slaps Rhodes. Then we get our third match, which is JBL and the World Tag Team and the WWE Tag Team Champions versus CTC, which is Crime Time C Nation, that new faction that Crime Time and Cena have formed, a rematch from last week's Raw. Except this time, CTC are the winners. Of course, JBL flees, and because, I don't know, he's a little chicken shit or something, but Cena doesn't run to the back and get run over by a car again. That doesn't happen. But Cena tries to double FU Rhodes and DiBiase, but what kind of happens is he has them both up, so here's his back, and then Rhodes and DiBiase on top of each other. Then as Cena's about to FU them, Rhodes just kind of flips off himself, and then Cena FUs DiBiase. But don't know if that was a botch or just... It was probably somewhat of a botch, but maybe, you know, they had planned... It looked like when Rhodes was on top of Cena, he wasn't really in position. So, but nevertheless, it was a good show of strength by Cena. So Cena double FUs, pins, win the match. And then backstage we have Jericho and Cade. Jericho and Lance Cade, they run into Kane. Not really a big backstage segment, just trying to reiterate how powerful Kane has kind of become. Then we have a fourth match, an intergender tag team match. Kofi Kingston, Mickie James versus the Burchill siblings, Paul Burchill and Katie Lee Burchill. So, that was not a bad match. It was probably one of the better ones of the night, in my opinion. But, you know, it wasn't too predictable. As I've said before, you know, Katie Lee Burchill, I think, is an amazing athlete, and so is Kofi Kingston. Mickie James and Paul Burchill, you know, they're fine in their own right. But Kofi Kingston actually did this thing where he was on the top or middle rope, and he jumped off, and I think he cross-bodied Paul Burchill onto the mat, but it was great because he jumped, you know, it seemed like halfway up to the ceiling. I mean, you know, he was really high, and it was awesome. And so, but I believe that Paul Burchill and his sister get the win, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I don't have it written down here, but I believe that's what happened. Then they have the same promo of Michaels and Jericho. For some reason, they stuck it in there again. But then we have our fifth match, which is Santino Marella versus D'Lo Brown. He actually comes back after, I forget, some year hiatus. He's been gone for quite a while. But D'Lo Brown comes back, and in his first match back on Raw, he wins against Santino Marella, which kind of expected and is good. So Santino Marella over this, well, probably since he turned heel, he's definitely been more of a comic heel than a powerhouse or anything, but, you know, they've kind of driven his credibility into the dirt, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because he's playing more for laughs than for actual skill, but it's too bad for him because he lost to Beth Phoenix last week, and now he loses to D'Lo Brown. And speaking of Beth Phoenix, after the match, Beth Phoenix is down at ringside, and her and Santino actually looks like they're gonna start fighting, but then they actually kiss. So, you know, this could be that looks like they're gonna turn them into a couple, which in my opinion isn't a bad thing. You know, they could be a good couple. I don't know, and they could take this, you know, any number of ways. I'm not really sure how they're gonna do it, but hopefully it'll be good because Santino good on the mic, Beth is good in the ring. You know, maybe do some kind of intergender tag team or something. So we'll see how that goes. Then we have our main event of the night for the World Heavyweight Championship between Batista and CM Punk. It was a decent match, you know, probably, other than the Kingston match, probably the best one of the night. But Kane still comes out. Well, he comes out before, actually, the match, and choke slams Batista, which kind of expected, you know. But, you know, and then Batista has to recover from that, so CM Punk comes out, tries to save Batista, gives Batista a few moments to recover, then they start their match. But, let's see, what do I have here? But CM Punk wins via DQ because JBL interferes after the match, I guess, because he's been saying throughout this whole night he deserved to get a chance for the World Heavyweight Championship next. And so he interferes, and then Cena interferes to get JBL, so I guess Cena's still mad about JBL trying to light him on fire or something, but who can blame the guy? Ha ha ha. So Cena actually ends up, I think, hitting Batista. So, you know, that might start a feud between them. That's what they might have going into SummerSlam. We'll see. I expect, though, it'll probably be... It could be even a fatal four-way for the World Heavyweight Championship. Hope it isn't, but I also don't hope JBL is in contention for it. I don't know who I'd like to see. I'd like to see Kane. Fuck, I'd just like to see Kane there. But, you know. So, kind of a quick run-through. Not a very exciting show, but just wanted to get this up there. And so, hopefully next week's Raw will be better. And so, other than that, comments, concerns, always accepted. You know, rate this video, and you guys all know the rest. And so, I'll be back with next week's overview. See ya.